We're going to work a little bit more with exponents. So this is day 2 of multiplying more terms. A lot of it's going to be a repeat, but it's so important that you get this concept down. So up here, we're multiplying common bases. What is a shortcut in simplifying exponents? You add them. What should be done to the coefficients? Multiply them. All right, so on this one, we have x times x, so you add 1 plus 1 and get 2, so that would be x squared. On this one, goes back to probably when you first started combining like terms, maybe 7th grade. So this would be 1x plus 1x is 2x, and it's common to want to add the exponents, but you don't. If you add the coefficients, you can't also add the exponents. And then negative x means negative 1 times x. All right, let's take a look at simplifying problem 1. So remember, as a shortcut, you're going to add the exponents. So 3 plus 5 gives you 8. So this is x to the 8th power. On number 2, you're going to add the exponents as well. So 2 plus 3 is 5, plus 6 is x to the 11th power. And here we have x to the negative 2nd times x to the 5th. It's the same thing as just dropping the parentheses and putting a multiplication sign. So negative 2 plus 5 gives you 3. So this would be x cubed. All right, and then on number 4, I have parentheses written out there so that you could see that we need to pull out the coefficients and then the variables there. So we have 2 times 4, and then we have x cubed and x to the 5th. So 2 times 4 is 8, and then 3 plus 5 is also 8. So it'd be 8x to the 8th power. On number 5, we have 5 times 3, and then we have your x's. So this would be x cubed and x to the 5th, and then your y's, y squared and y to the 8th. So notice that we broke everything up. So we pulled out the coefficients here, and then we have the like bases, your x's here in the middle, and then your y's. So 5 times 3 is 15, and then 3 plus 5 for your x's gives you 8, y, and then 2 plus 8 gives you 10. So that would be 15, x to the 8th, y to the 10th. On number 6, the coefficient right here is understood to be a negative 1. So negative 1 times 6, and then x to the 4th times x squared. So that would give us negative 6x to the 6th power, because 4 plus 2 is 6. On number 7, the coefficients would be negative 1, negative 9, and negative 2. Then I'm going to put my x's here. So I have an x, and then I have an x to the 4th, and then I have an x to the negative 3rd. And then I have a y and another y. But I don't have a y in this third set of parentheses. So now for my coefficients, I've got negative 1 times negative 9 is 9. 9 times negative 2 is negative 18. X to the, now on this first x, remember the coefficient's understood to be 1. Or not the coefficient, but the exponent is understood to be a 1. So don't forget about that. So 1 plus 4 is 5. And then 5 minus 3 is 2. So that would be squared. And then on the y's, remember the exponent's understood to be 1. So there's a 1 and a 1, which makes 2. So negative 18 x squared, y squared. Number 8, remember the coefficient here is a negative 1. So negative 8 times negative 1 gives you a positive 8, and then you add the exponents of the y's. 2 plus 3 gives you 5. Number 9, you have negative 1 times 5 is your coefficient, so that would be negative 5. And then your x's, you've got 2 plus 3 is 5. And then your y's, you have 1 plus 1 gives you 2. So negative 5, x to the 5th, y squared. All right, and then remember down here when we simplify with fractional powers, you have to have a common denominator, just like what we did yesterday. So this would be 1/3 plus 5/3 gives you 6/3, and 6 divided by 3 is 2. So that would be your exponent of 2. So n squared is your final answer. Here we've got 3/4 plus 3/4 is 6/4, and then you need to reduce that by 2. So that would give you 3/2. So your final answer would be x raised to the 3/2 power. Number 12, you've got 2/5 plus 4/5 plus 4/5 again. So 2 plus 4 is 6, plus 4 is 10. So you have 10 over 5, which reduces to the whole number 2. So this would be r squared. And then on number 13, let's see, we can drop the parentheses. I mean, there's no sense in having a multiplication sign and parentheses. The only reason I put a parenthesis there is for you to understand that that 4 has a negative in front of it. Because sometimes a multiplication and the negative get a little mixed up. So let's go ahead and do 3 times -4. Let's go ahead and put our -12 there because we need this space to get our common denominator. So we have 1/3 plus 3/5. So our common denominator is going to be 15. So we're going to have to multiply that by 5 and that by 5. And then here, we're going to have to multiply this by 3 and this by 3. So now, 1 times 5 is 5. 3 times 5 is 15. Plus 3 times 3 is 9. 5 times 3 is 15. So 5 plus 9 gives us 14 over 15. So we're going to have, as our final answer, -12a raised to the fraction of 14 over 15.